We are ready to start. Good evening, everyone. This is the Housing Committee, and today is Thursday, October 30th, 2025. It's 4:06 p.m. We're being delayed a few minutes. Good evening and welcome to the October 30th, 2025 meeting of the Barnstable Housing Committee. Here at Barnstable Town Hall, 367 Main Street, Hyannis, Mass. Selectman Conference Room, the second floor. The meeting notice has been previously filled with Town Clerk in accordance with the Massachusetts General Law. This meeting will be replayed via Xfinity, Channel 8, or High Definition Channel 1072. It may also be accessed via the Government Access Channel, Live Video on Demand, Archives of the Town of Barnstable. And the website is right there. Notice of recording. This meeting of the Barnstable Housing Committee is being recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable Government Access Channel. In accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20, the chair must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, to please make their presence known. Anyone? That's a no. Okay. Meeting is now called to order, and I'm going to do the introduction of our community members. My name is Hilda Hay, and I'm the chair. We have Donald Lynn, and we have Chris Beach, Joseph Takago, Eileen Elias, and for staff person, we have Corey Pacheco and Jillian Douglas. I haven't seen our counselor here as yet. Our liaison is John Crow, but at the moment he's not in the room. And at this time, we're going to have the general public comment, if there's any public comment, not on our agenda for this evening. And there is no one and no public comments. So at this time, we're going to have updates from Planning and Development Department. We have Corey Pacheco and Julian Douglas. I don't know who want to start first.
Well, I put up an update under housing to protect Cape Cod Summit. I was hoping that maybe you guys who attended the summit, Eileen and Hilda, if you wanted to chat about your experience today at the summit, or
Have anything you'd like to say, Eileen?
It was a comprehensive presentation, and it gave a very optimistic perspective, in my assessment, on housing development across Cape Cod.
Agreed.
The only thing that I wish could have occurred is that there was more attention in regards to Barnstable and what Barnstable is addressing and attending to. And that might be a recognition for the next meeting. That's my feedback.
I think the meeting was I think the conference was well supported. Where I was kind of surprised and taken back a little bit. I see a lot of men today, this morning. I don't know, it seems a little bit unusual because usually we have more women, but today I say a massive amount of men that came out to support the housing project, and I was very pleased. It was a comprehensive package, job well done. There's a lot of highlights of housing and we can see throughout the community that different housing are going up. There's building, at least I in myself feel like there's hope. There's a little bit ray of light. I can see houses going up in and around the town, throughout different towns. Yarmouth, Barnstable has a lot going up right now, and I'm very happy for that. The struggle with that I find is that even though we are having housing, the major struggle is people still can't afford it.
Right.
And that's the missing piece, affordability. even though we are having them built, and I was talking to Gail from housing today, and she said she had, and she said she had 3 apartments, which is 100% AMI, and she didn't have any applicants, or people just can't afford it. I think, I don't know if the town needs to start coming up with helping with assistance with down payment, even for the people that are in the 100% or the 80 percentile affordability are still struggling to find that down payment money. So even though we're building, and I'm feeling happy about it, to balance that scale off is the affordability. And that's still a real struggle. And I know there are all these different organizations that are working towards that, are trying to come up with ideas. Maybe our financial institution, I don't know how they would play a role in this, to be able to help finance these down payments, or helping people to acquire these homes, or the town. I don't know. We'll have to sit and really try to hammer that one out. But overall, I think it was well attended. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, if you
Chris.
can't afford the down payment for a house or whatever, you're probably not gonna be able to afford the mortgage. You know what I mean? So then, are you gonna need help? But it's,
It is.
I mean, I get it, you know what I mean? But I mean, if you can't afford, 20,000, what is it, like 20,000, 25,000 for?
It depends
Yeah,
on the
depending on
cost.
how much, yeah. But I mean, if you can't do the minimum, are you gonna be able to afford that $2,500
Sometimes it
mortgage?
does, because sometimes you're just struggling at that point just to get started, and if
Yeah.
you get
They don't
started
have the lump
sometimes,
sum. They may
yeah,
have the cash flow to pay the monthly payment.
yeah.
True, yeah.
There was a very good article recently on comparing buying versus renting. I think it may have been a Globe magazine article, but the point is what was just said. And some of that was discussed today
Yes.
in other towns. Be it Orleans, for example, I think.
Yes, Arlene's Providence.
The town select persons have been very supportive,
Yes.
town governments, in doing what you just said and helping with that initial cost of just buying a home. And to me, that was an important takeaway. I'm really glad that you mentioned it,
Yeah.
because in fact, it's something I think, it's not, it's a strategy I think that we need to think about in this committee, to bring to the town and how, and to be able to push and not have a long-winded 3-year planning process either.
No.
So actually, what he said about paying, you can pay the mortgage or whatever, I do not own a home, and there's a reason why I don't, because it's more than just the mortgage. What if your roof blows off, or you need a new fridge, or your septic pumped, or all those other things, so you got that on top of it, it's very expensive. So she mentioned having an apartment. I've always had an apartment. Guess what? When my fridge goes, it's done. The shoveling's done, everything's, so it's a little bit
For
more.
your apartment.
Kinda, yeah. I mean, I can afford it, but
No, I'm saying
It
it's,
runs the gamut, whether
Yeah.
you're buying or
Oh,
renting.
yeah.
but I mean, owning a home is there's a lot more to it, the taxes and all those kind of things. I don't know how much that is, but that's expensive every year, right, to pay.
It's expensive, but you
Property.
know what? As a person who have owned a home for the last 13 years on the Cape,
Mhm.
getting my home was a struggle. The initial startup was a struggle. I struggled, but I managed very well. And I got through that period where I could do all my repairs and do all the necessary work that needs to be done. Because when knowing that it's yours, you put that extra effort in to make sure your home is what you want it to be, whatever make you comfortable in whatever situation you find yourself.
The problem's even worse than you think, because it's not 20,000 for the down payment. If you want to get out of the PMI, it's 20% of the purchase price.
Oh, that's what I was thinking of.
If the average house is $750, you need $150,000 in cash.
That number has
And
always
then
been
you
stuck in
have
my
a
head.
$600,000 mortgage and a house with no furniture. I don't know how we're fighting that, basic
Two incomes.
demand supply
Usually you
situation.
can't do that on your own, right?
Yeah.
You know, so whether it's a roommate or whatever, you have to,
I mean, there's ways around. I mean, if you're a single person or just two of people and you have a 3-bedroom, you can always offer one up to rent for, working, single person working. It still helps with some income.
Well, and even if you're renting, if they're looking for like first, last, and security
It's
deposit,
still a lot.
you're still looking for, you've gotta come with a chunk to put down
Oh, yeah.
before
Oh,
you
yeah.
even
No,
get
you're
into it.
absolutely
Renting
right.
as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Because if you're renting somewhere for 2,500, so that is 7,500 down payment or 8,000 down payment you're looking at.
And you're not even guaranteed to come back either, you could do it for the first year, and like it's not working out or whatever,
Yeah.
and you gotta find another
Another
place.
place.
Right.
And all you're getting back is that 25 for security.
Right.
Right.
So then you're in the same
Hopefully.
spot again.
Yes.
Most people are cool, like, hey, if you do this, this, and this, you can stay here as long as you want, but it doesn't matter, you can't get that in writing, they only do it for a year, so that's also another tough spot.
The only really affordable way is for the grandparents to step in and make the deposit.
Why do you think I know this stuff?
Well, my grandparents don't have 150,000, so.
But the bottom line is that this is something the committee I've
Yeah.
talked about needs to think
Address,
about,
yeah.
and how and what kind of proposal we would want to present, because people can't otherwise afford to live in the Hyannis Barnstable area. And so what do we do governmentally to just help the town figure out some support?
Are you talking about paying the whole down payment, or
I
is
don't,
this just an idea?
it's something that we need to wrestle with.
Yeah, the only reason why I'm thinking that is because you're gonna have to pay that back. Nobody's gonna give you $200,000. So if you have a mortgage and then you're paying the town, I don't know. I'm just spitballing, I guess,
I think
but
before, the town used to do assistance where you don't have to pay it back unless you sell the house.
Right.
When you get a portion to borrow towards probably a down payment and stuff, whatever you need it for, you don't it's 0%, you don't have to pay it back. Only if you sell that house. If you're selling the house, then you have to pay it. So I don't know if we need to start doing something like that again. I know before there was that kind of assistance from the
but like
town.
Don was saying, it's 20%, so if 150,000, and then what, you get 50, 100 people, where's that money? That's a lot, that's a,
Dollar
That's
for
it,
everyone.
but the
Yeah.
town can have a negotiation with whatever bank, be it Cape Cod Five or
Right.
whatever,
Local.
local bank who tends to be very socially community minded. And, you can come up with a different plan than what the average home buyer has to handle. The reality is we need workers. The reality is, in the Barnstable public school system, they can't get teachers. And it's very difficult because they can't afford the housing.
That's
The
the
same with nurses, the same with new physicians, just the service industry. And if housing is not gonna be available here, they go off Cape
Yep.
and then they travel in from Plymouth or beyond to come and work here. And if they can get a position closer to home, they're gonna take it, and they do. And there's a constant challenge.
turnover. The turnover.
I forget who I was talking to last week, maybe it was somebody over at the hospital. They were saying that just in the interview process, one of the first questions that they're asking applicants is, do you have a place to live?
Well, yes.
Because if the answer isn't yes, there's no
doesn't make
point in
any
us going
sense.
any further in this interview.
Which is a problem with Cape Cod Hospital, not having housing that's affordable next to the hospital. They're putting up housing or something in that, or that new building's a cancer unit.
yeah, it's a cancer.
It's a cancer center.
But if you go into Boston, for example, at Mass General, the medical staff, physicians and non-physicians, have housing made available to them and especially for new docs, etc., who have to pay off loans,
Yeah.
it's affordable.
Right.
We're not doing any of that here. So this is a discussion where Cape Cod Hospital and the Barnstable school system and others should be at the
And the
table with
police and
us.
the fire, and I mean, it's,
And the banks, right?
It affects every industry. It affects each and every one of us in one way or another, whether we think about it or not. Because at the hospital, if we don't have nurses, if we don't have CNAs, if we don't have the doctors, when you get sick and go in there, your wait is gonna be 4 or 5 hours. That's just what it's gonna be because it's who is available, what kind of staffing we have. I've had last year a traveler that works in my department because I work at the hospital she came from New York, came down here, took a job and was living in her car. And I was so stressed about the whole situation. I'm like, this is not a good thing for you to do.
Well, like you said, I mean, try to get a new dentist or a new doctor or a new therapist or something, they're like year and a half, 2 years out in some
Yeah,
places,
you have to
you know
go
what I
off
mean?
Cape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's.
And that's what's affecting because all these young doctors coming out of school with $200,000 to be paid can't afford a rent for $3,000 plus have to be paying school fees back.
And we've got 300,000 of medical school bills to pay.
And they have to still
So
have
they
to
can't do a charitable kind of pro bono thing. They have to make the most they can.
yeah.
so in Barnstable, are there any structures or organizations that would be in a position to, forget about funding, but, you know, being responsible for that kind of a program of, you know, assistance to people trying to get into the housing market? Some of the other towns at the conference this morning were talking about, you know, they had different financial structures that were working with them to support, you know, people
They
getting into
didn't talk
housing.
about the banks at the table though.
They didn't talk about banks.
And that's in there, I think that was it would have been good if they had been at the table today. But-
Yeah, it would have been nice to actually talk about some of the mechanisms for doing some of what they were talking about. But
So we talk about things not being, housing not being affordable and stuff like that. Every time a building goes up, it's full. Sometimes before it's even built, you know, like the ones on Pleasant Street. I called when they had the foundations in, I'm like, no, I'll just call, and they're like, no, these were all rented out or sold before the lot was even cleared.
Shows you the
Which-
demand's there.
Yeah, so, but people are
Yeah, if
paying
the
it
supply
somehow though.
doesn't
Yeah,
keep
I don't know
up.
how, honestly, I don't.
The prices are going up.
But
Yeah.
it's unclear who's living there. How many of them are people who can afford a second home?
Oh, I get you, yeah. I mean,
So that's something we have to keep close on our agenda for this coming
Thank
year. You know, trying to sit with everybody at the table, financial institution, the towns. It's a corporate effort. It's a community effort. In order for us to move forward and to strive, for this community to keep striving, we have to. It's not a if or a but. We have to work together. We have to figure it out.
But it's not just this committee.
No, it's the whole town, it's the town council, it's the different committees. There's a lot of hands in the basket, there's a lot of people doing different things, different organizations, different groups. But I think there gotta be a collaborative effort where everybody come and say, okay, I'm doing this, you in doing that, and that one is doing that. Why don't we all just sit down and see how we can put all our heads together and see how we can go through.
I think that's kind of hitting the nail on the head.
Yeah.
There's hack and there's the, you know, there's a million of these things and the local this and the local that, the apartments,
but the lines for all the help is out the door, you know what I mean?
One
wait
of the,
lists are
one of the
insane.
things I noticed, because one of the nurses recently, no names, no places, but she got one of the affordable homes, and I think it was, I think she said Yarmouth, and she was one of only 19 that applied. She still won, but I think there's a lot of people out there that think they make too much money. We talk about AMI, and nobody really knows what that is. Well, I make $56,000 a year. I probably make too much. You probably don't. At least at the 80%, I think it's like $90,000. It's higher than people think. And I don't know how we get the
110.
word out there,
It's 110.
you know? 19 people applied and we've got such a housing problem. I would have expected 100 people to apply.
Okay, so that's kind of our update from this morning, being at the conference, the housing conference. There's a lot of information and a lot of, I would say, new branches springing, housing being, I feel that we have moved forward. That's what I gathered, and the different housing that's going up, even though it's still out of some people's reach, at least there's things still going on. So,
I think we should keep in mind too that it was only 5, maybe 10 years ago. I was on the thing here. I guess I'm going to die here. That there were like one to 5 affordables a year, and so
yeah, we've
the
come a
town
long
and
way.
everybody is really doing a good job.
Yeah, we've come a long way. We built.
You want to make it everybody, but it's we're doing the best we can.
Okay, Corey, Jillian, have anything to add to what's going on with
I can just,
discussion?
I'll give you basically 2 reports. On October 7th, there was a groundbreaking for a project that the trust has had put, a 2-phase project. This is in the town of Dennis. It's Forward, and this was the groundbreaking for the phase 2 called Forward 2. Forward stands for Friends or Relatives with Autism-Related Disorders. And so this is supportive housing. It was 8 additional, phase 1 was 8 apartments. The phase 2 is 8 additional apartments with supportive services. And so that was a very happy event, and
Affordables.
these are affordable with support services and special needs population.
That is awesome.
Is federal money part of that?
I believe there is a component that is.
Typically, if someone has a disability.
There is definitely multiple levels of state funding. There is also, I want to say, 8 different towns through their community preservation funds, including Barnstable, put money toward that. So it was very much a regional development, and so far a great success. Like I say, it was just the groundbreaking, but I think we're all very optimistic to see
Yes.
that happening.
That's awesome.
And then the only other sort of new item is the, which I think Corey will address in his piece, but the 35 Wilkins, which is it was 320 units that went before the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit. It is also, because it is such a large development, it triggered what they called a Development of Regional Impact review by the Cape Cod Commission. So the Cape Cod Commission is another layer of review. Through that process, the Zoning Board of Appeals did issue a special permit, but they did include a condition in their special permit that the applicants or the developers work with the trust. And so this is the first time that we've seen sort of the Zoning Board of Appeals refer a development to the trust. And in condition 11, it is proposed that the applicant will work with the trust to produce 10 additional deed-restricted units. And they had referenced at affordable to 100% AMI, which is a little bit complicated because the trust doesn't typically afford, using community preservation funds, we focus primarily on what would be affordable, which would be the 80%. We have some ability to go a little bit higher, but would be starting out at a higher level of, or I should say, less affordable at a higher, but it's affordable to a higher income household.
Do you know what the rent will be?
Let's see, I think, all I can tell you is fair market rent, and I only wrote this down because I was thinking about 3 bedrooms, but a 3-bedroom unit, the fair market rent for Barnstable is $2,879 a month. So
three
there's, and in affordable, that would be at 80%, would be $2,670 a month. So there's a discrepancy there, and
Yes,
we'll
so
be-
close. The
Yeah.
numbers.
It's pretty close, but not quite.
Was that one bedroom or three bedroom?
That's a 3-bedroom because, and the
2800?
reason I focused on that is because through the public hearings with the zoning board of appeals, much of the comment had to do with the need for more than 1-bedrooms and 2-bedrooms. The need is greatest for families and 3-bedroom units. So that was what percolated from the public comment. It isn't necessarily what the developer would be proposing.
Oh, because I was gonna say that's like, you can get a one bedroom for just a little less than that, you know?
I
I
think the
didn't-
number was higher than that.
Yeah, that
I
sounds a
remember
little low.
watching,
Yeah, let's see, did I bring that? Yes, I did.
Because the place we looked at, 310 Barnstable Road, the 3 bedrooms over more than that. But I mean, that's luxury or whatever, but they said,
It wasn't much more than that, I think it was 2,900 at 210 Barnstable for the 3-bedroom.
Was it? Yeah, it was something like, because the studio was like 18 or 19 for the studio, or the 1 bedrooms, it was right around there.
So if you look in your local action unit application for this project, Hanover Hyannis, it states the proposed gross rents. It also states, it's in your packet, the market rents that they're gonna be looking to achieve for the project, but it also states the affordable that is part of the special permit. So you could see that you have a 1-bedroom with a market rent rate of between $2,600 and $2,720 per month. And then a 2-bedroom at $33,320 and $3,580 per month. And 3 bedrooms, $4,270 a month. So
Those are,
yeah, those are the numbers I kind of remember being thrown around.
that's market rate.
That's
Yeah, market
market
rent,
Yeah.
and that is the market rent that they're using. I'm
Yeah.
not so sure that is what,
It's quite
that's
a,
not a HUD or a state market
it's
rent.
quite a differential between the 30% and 800 something, if I heard right, and 2,000 something
Yeah.
for the 80%. It really kind of hammers working people.
yeah. So if I had to pay these prices, that's when I would think about getting a house. You know what I mean? Because you're not getting anything from that, you know what I mean? You might as well try to find that.
2,000 a month down the toilet.
Yeah, that's
It is expensive.
that's insane.
But Jillian, it sounds like that's a vote of confidence from the ZBA.
Well, I think it's, we have yet to meet on it. We're trying to schedule our first meeting with, to negotiate with the applicant about what would meet their needs. But also it's, the presumption is that there would be funds coming from the trust to supplement the buy down of that.
Okay.
That's 3, right? Yeah, 3 bedrooms.
That's about all I had for news, but
Can maybe it's my education, but the trust. Who is the trust, who manages the trust?
the trust is a board. There's 5 members. There's currently a vacancy. The chair is the town manager. The assistant town manager is the vice chair. Laura Schufelt is the expert from Mass Housing Partnership. She's a local resident and appointed to that. And Mark Milne is the town finance director. And as I said, the vacancy, that was Wendy Northcross because she was an economic development specialist. And so we're working to fill that 5th seat, and also just to, every time an application comes before the board, they would have to review and go through and see if that meets the terms that they're seeking. So, and the notice of funding availability is on the town's website, so there are criteria that a developer would have to meet. And again, our goal is affordable housing. They have the flexibility to go to what they call attainable housing. So. And I should say also the funding for the trust is coming from our Community Preservation Act fund, the fund that goes, it's the surcharge on real estate transfer that comes back to the town.
Thank you.
So on here, Corey, SHI monitoring plan, you share anything more about on that?
Yeah, well, I guess just to piggyback on what Jillian was talking about, underneath what on the agenda, we have the local action unit application for Hanover Highness. So just to kind of make you aware, part of the special permit for Hanover Highness required 13% of the 320 units to be SHI eligible, subsidized housing inventory eligible. So that's 42 units. And 32 of those units will be deed restricted at 65% AMI, and 10 will be deed restricted at 80% AMI. So we just received that a few weeks ago, and hopefully Hilda will be endorsing the application so we can move it along in the process to get it up to the state for review and approval for the project. So that's an update on our most recent application to the town. And also we have the Housing Choice Grant and the update to the Barnstable Inclusionary Ordinance. So in May, this committee voted to send a letter of supporting the application for a grant to update the inclusionary ordinance, and happy to say that the town was awarded the grant of $72,700 to update our inclusionary ordinance. So so currently we're in the process of working out a scope of work, and we'll be putting out a RFP soon for a consultant to start work on doing the feasibility study. So
That's
Is
great.
And that's through planning and development?
Is the inclusionary, this grant under the Barnstable ordinance, is that people with disabilities? Is that changing some of our affordables to like wheelchair access or?
no, it's essentially we'll be looking into best practices for inclusionary ordinances now, and it look at the feasibility of
A study
potentially,
rather than
instead of,
changing anything.
so our ordinance requires 10% of units of projects that have 10 or more units, 10% have to be deed restricted affordable at 65%. So the study will hopefully look into doing an economic feasibility study to maybe increase that percentage from 10% maybe to 13, 15, 20%,
Yeah.
without actually making a project not feasible anymore, financially feasible for the developer. So that's probably the main focus of this update to the ordinance.
Are they looking at the 10-unit threshold as well, or just the percentage above 10?
I guess they'll be looking at all percentages above that could potentially not make or break a project. So I'm not quite sure, what percentages we'll entertain. So we'll find out. We'll keep you updated.
Breaking news.
Yeah. So town council voted to authorize at the last town council meeting the town manager to contract for and expend in fiscal year 2020 the grant in the amount of $72,700. It's reimbursable by the state. So we'll keep you posted on the progress of the project.
That's a good start. We
Yep.
needed that update. I think we need that 10% to be increased drastically. So, and without preventing our builders and developers from stepping back or not wanting to do a project.
Yeah.
It has to be feasible for them and be rich enough for both sides, that there be a balance.
Correct.
And that would be a very good thing.
So next on the list, shared regional housing services. So Barnstable County had a shared regional housing services pilot program that was ARPA funded for 2 years, and it concluded on June 30th, 2025. And it was a popular program amongst Cape Towns. So there was a drive to kind of continue the program from all the communities on Cape. So the Barnstable County Administrator's Office has decided to take on the Regional Housing Services Project and extend it for another 3 years.
Oh, nice.
So there was an RFP this summer to get a consultant to help run the Regional Housing Services. So that is starting to do the work currently, and that's Barrett Planning. And so Barrett Planning met with Jim Kupfer, Planning and Development Director, and myself to go over our SHI inventory and help the town kind of move through the inventory, separate it into the ownership units, the rentals, and then we have an affordable accessory apartment program we had running for a while, which isn't really that active anymore. So they're going to help us with the monitoring part, make sure we keep the units that are on the list. So they're kind of doing a deep dive, and we're working with them on that deep dive to get this list updated and make sure we're monitoring everything properly and keeping the units affordable. So
Thank you.
and so yeah, that happened this week. So we're excited for that to move forward. That'll be great. And list of town-owned parcels, that currently it's in the assessors, the asset management office, and we're kind of working through the list right now, and that will be an ongoing project for a while. So we're hoping we get some more clarity from asset management on the list pretty soon.
Is there any,
The list of owned properties, just maybe more for my education, but how much of those are in the Hyannis area? And how many are in other towns?
I can get you, it is broken out on a list. I provided you guys a list last
Okay.
meeting, so it is broken out
I apologize.
by village, so where it's located. So yeah, I could definitely get you that list again, but I don't have it in front of me. I can't recall the number of units that are, or the number of properties that are potentially in the Hyannis area.
The reason I'm asking is kind of what we talked about in the meeting this morning. It's the question that when we talk about housing development, and there's been a lot of pushback on everything going into Hyannis. And yet, the reason back to me that's often given is the sewage is a barrier to developing housing outside of Hyannis. And I have raised the question, how much of it belongs with this committee, I don't know, to talk about. But there is housing that can be developed that has housing-based sewage where it doesn't have to connect to a large system. The owner of the home, etc., there's a collection of the sewage. And then on a monthly basis, you can take this
Move it into the major.
and then move it into the town septic or town whatever, dump or whatever you might, whichever available. and it's been done elsewhere. Personally, I would love for us to talk about it because I think it gives an opportunity to look at what is challenged when you keep, because of the issue about wetlands and lack of sewage, etc., that we need to look at other options.
Maybe, Corey, for our next meeting or a future meeting, we could get somebody from
GPW.
DPW over in that, doing that septic system that's going through, not the septic, but the what we have going through the communities.
Water treatment, is that what you're
Or the pump
The
station.
pumps, not, well, the pump station, there's a lot going on, I know they are doing a lot, but maybe we can get somebody from that department to come answer a few questions or just give us highlights and updates, give us some wisdom on what's going on.
Okay, I'll ask Jim. See what we can do.
Well,
Because,
people were talking this morning about the Marston's Mills school site.
yes.
One of the barriers there is until the sewer line gets that far down Route 28, if you wanna put housing into that spot, you're building new septics or you're building some kind of an alternative, situation, and then along comes the sewer and you've gotta redo whatever it is that you did.
It's been an issue since 2006.
Well, it all depends on
I
how
voted
we
at the
engineer.
school, it looked fine to me, but then they closed it.
It's just like you're saying, there are other ways and means, we go to the moon, we go to everything else. Why can't we come up with a suitable recommendation? Even, well, if we have to sit and wait for the sewer, which is going, what is it, we have until
Well, it's a 30-year plan.
30-year
We're in
plan.
the first 10-year segment, so.
Yeah, so maybe there should be a more focus on the areas where housing can be built, like in those areas to try to get this sewer system going in those areas more quicker than the regular other areas. So if we, just for word speaking, the Marshes Mills area, if we need to put in that project and to get something started, maybe that should be a focus on the sewer system in that area, getting that done in that
Well,
area.
I think it's like budgeted a certain way, if they're doing it over 30 years, spreading that out. So if you up that, then you're taking all those millions of dollars and, you gotta use it now instead of,
Yeah,
over
but
the
so
30
you,
years.
instead of doing project A down here, we could do project B over here, which is more urgent and prioritize things.
I thought you were just talking about
No,
pushing the
no.
timeline up.
One of the problems with getting affordables prior to the sewer, the expense of the sewer on people that have lower income. I've seen estimates from 20,000 to 30,000. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to stay here. And then you have to pay your own ditch diggers, whatever you call them, to connect, and that's another 6,000 or 7,000. And then there's an operating cost every month. I mean, you would maybe get a 6-month bill or a 3-month bill. Oh, Bourne sends me 2 a year. If you're on a sewer system, somebody runs it, some town employees maintain it, or a contract, but there's, it's, I just wonder if it's, if we're not shooting ourselves on the foot, if you put people that comply with the affordable standards today, once the sewer kicks out, like you said, where are they gonna get $20,000? And, the town says, well, we'll give a low interest rate and we'll do it over 10
You
years.
still have to pay.
It's still money out of your pocket.
You still have
I
to
mean,
pay. So as you were saying, probably smaller projects like if there's a spot of land or something that we can put in a smaller project and have something bigger that when maybe pull every 2 months and go into the major system. Like, everything that we're talking about is expense. Putting in that sewer for each person to have that sewer, as you're saying, the people that are really struggling, even the older folks, who are not really working, who depend on the Medicare, the Medicaid, health insurance and all of that, who doesn't have the funding, how are they gonna manage? Who is gonna pay that bill for them? So I mean, it'd be good if we get somebody from that area to come talk to us, explain a little bit more, give us a little bit more education on how is this gonna be operating.
When you're talking about the sewage, like the bills for it and stuff like that, like a lot of people, a lot of times they're like, it's not that much money, which it's not. But if you add in
Some people
everything
can-
else,
can write a check out.
yeah, but I mean,
the
it's
people
a
that
little bit of
qualify-
everything all the time. It's always something new, you know what I mean? And it adds up and it takes that little bit of profit you had.
And sewage can have a problem. I think it was 8 years ago, 9 years ago, one of my friends lived in the housing authority over Bismarck Park. It overlooked South Street, I guess, or the other one that comes up. And they got 3 feet. It had some problem with the sewer system, and 3 feet of sludge and everything was in her apartment. They had to move her out. They actually closed Hyannis Harbor for I think 3 days or 5 days, because it all flows downhill. So, they're still in favor of sewers, but everybody looks at it like this is the golden whatever. This is the golden answer. There's problems with it too. In addition to the monthly bills, it has to be maintained.
Yeah.
So, Bourne went from I think 300 a year to 1,200.
So if you were talking about the school and you put a septic in there, that's gonna be one of those ones that cleans itself and all those are hundreds and hundreds of thousands. But at your house, I'm awful with numbers, but you're looking at like 15,000, 18,000 just for the basic, but that's it forever. You know what I mean? Unless it fails in the future or something like that, but there's no monthly bills so the sewer's easier.
Well, who pays for it? That's the whole problem.
Yeah.
Well, and under the current regulations, if you put in an alternative system now, even though, it may be good for the next 40 years, when the sewer does come along,
Yeah.
it's still required to connect.
They're gonna force you to take it.
One of the problems
See
is,
how they can force
even if you
down.
don't wanna get on it because you just spent 20,000
Yeah.
on this super system, if it goes by your house, whether you connect or not, you owe the 20 grand.
What?
Yeah, every house that goes by it's gonna get assessed. That's the last thing I heard.
Well,
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
That's
That
why we
doesn't-
need somebody to come and talk to us,
Yeah.
give us a little highlight.
Because if they're not doing anything, like, cause you said, you gotta do the line to the house, you can get any septic company to do that. You know what I mean? Like, if I don't do that,
That's
like,
how they're paying for the sewer, is their betterments. I have a problem with betterments being used for the entire town legally, but it's all been vetted, I guess. Usually betterments are for a small portion. The other taxpayers shouldn't be paying because you got your street, something. But this is for the whole town. The last, Corey jumped in, if I'm wrong. They said every house that goes by. So that's why I'm counting the years. I'm almost,
Understanding that impact on housing, new and existing,
I'm gonna put a,
would definitely be worth having somebody coming.
Yes.
I'm gonna put a fence up and tell them,
Lighten us.
don't come down my street.
Can I just suggest something? I've talked about this, and what I want to be able to do is provide the information so it could be sent out. There are models that are in operation elsewhere in the country of self-contained collectives. You also collect and take care
Yeah.
of sewer system.
That will take out the nitrogen and phosphorus too.
Well, it collects it. You bring it,
Oh, okay.
and then whatever about
Yeah, somebody's gotta dump it,
what I wanna do is just, I keep alluding to this, is just make sure that I identify the information and send it to you.
Sure.
That's right, and then
We can have a discussion.
but it's an out-of-the-box approach than the
I think
typical,
we need to think outside,
because
big problems.
where I live, it's we have our own septic system. And it has to be separated from the well, and et cetera. But that's one kind of a self-contained system. But this is not that type, it's not a septic system as such. And I need to get you the information.
So people would run this in conjunction with their present septic system.
I don't know that part.
Okay.
What I do know is that there are models of this in the country. I have to get my hands on the
Is there
research.
anyone in DPW that could talk about sewers?
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
that impacts the housing that's going.
We go back to outhouses.
Well, I'm not talking about outhouses, I'm talking
Yeah.
about
No, I
a
know.
decent
I
storage system
know, I was
that
being
is not
facetious,
with
yeah.
odor and all of that.
I know what you're talking about. I'm just not fully informed of what
I
these,
have to
I
get
think they're
you the
called
info.
package plants. They're
Package,
small
yeah.
package treatment plants that are for smaller developments that
Right, right.
I just don't know a lot about it to speak on it, so.
I allude to it, now I have to get the info and I will do that.
Okay. Okay, so that's what we have under our agenda. We had September 25th minutes, and we are asking approval of that minutes.
You guys, I sent out the minutes to everybody. Did you get a chance to review them? Joe provided some comment, so I was able to edit them and send them out to you. Everybody okay with the minutes?
So if we are okay, can we move some of the minutes to be approved, please?
So moved.
Second.
You wanna vote?
Yeah,
Everybody vote?
everybody, yeah, let's vote. Aye,
Aye.
Aye,
okay.
aye to the people on the maybe.
There is the information also that you made a copy of too.
Yep.
If we could talk about that.
Yeah, so the, future topics for housing committee agendas, there's the ad hoc subcommittee, the zoning recommendation or housing recommendations from the ad hoc committee and town council, I provided for you in your packet. Please review those, and if you wanna talk about any of those recommendations, there's obviously the LCP, the housing element of the LCP, I provided you a copy of the housing portion of that last meeting, and there's any goals in there that you guys wanna chat about next meeting, please let me know, and you guys can try to get as much information I can provided to you.
Okay,
The LCP went to, what's the next step in the approval of the LCP?
Cape Cod Commission.
Cape Cod Commission. And it's a housing production plan, it had to go to the state.
Correct.
You know where I would have spent 20 grand is in P-Town. They needed a septic system. Like all those people were coming, I think to Orleans, right, to do their clothes and stuff like that. That was definitely worth it up there. It's just a hike to do everything up there.
I don't know, have we looked at any dates for our next meeting, anything in
So
mind?
the next meeting date, if we were to follow our same schedule, the last Thursday, that's Thanksgiving Day,
I can do it.
Thursday.
I don't think so.
So
I've got family coming on May 1.
Yeah, see, he gets it.
I'm sure if you wanna shift
Can we
to
do
a
it
different,
the 20th?
Can
we can't meet during town council, so that's the 20th, that Thursday is town council meeting.
Just what about the day before Thanksgiving, that Wednesday?
that's hassle, that's an hassle.
I'm
not
out of
gonna be,
town.
and I'm gonna be out of town.
So that week is
What, we're not gonna have a turkey here?
What about November 19th?
I'm staffing a meeting at 6:30 for Hyannis Main Street Historic Commission. So,
What are the dates you have that's available that we think we could work around?
Historical Commission on Tuesday.
13th? Is that available to us?
13th. And it looks like a open date, the 13th.
Do we wanna try for the 13th? Cause I think the 13th of November, cause I think the rest of the time it's just gonna be close to the holidays and
What day of the week is that?
it's
Thursday.
Thursday, the 13th.
I can't do it on the 13th. I'm sorry. I have prior.
You know.
Can we do it a day
Right.
other than a Thursday?
Just let me know,
Okay.
and I'll be here. I think I've said that every time.
Yeah, no,
So
yeah.
I'm pretty easy.
So
Like I'm out of work by then.
Helen
anyway,
said she
so it
couldn't do
doesn't matter.
Thursday, the 13th. Is there any other day that you could work with Corey?
Um,
And this is majority of us can do.
Wednesday, the
13th.
12th, I'm pretty certain.
Eileen,
The 12th, at what time?
week before in the evening, just the same time.
Same time, 4 o'clock.
That would be great.
What is it, 12th? Isn't that like next week or something?
Yeah, I got
It's
another
awfully
2 weeks, in 2
awfully
weeks,
close.
yeah.
And thank you for keeping it.
So we'll, November 12th at 4. All right, I'll
So-
let you know if that's not possible, if I do a little more digging into the town calendar.
So this is the 12th.
Yeah.
I like having a set schedule now.
Thanksgiving threw it off.
Yeah.
I mean, if-
Oh, yeah, no, I'm just saying, like in general, I think it's cool that we finally decided to do that. It's a lot easier, I think. Or at least close.
There's also, if you can't decide on a topic to discuss, obviously, if there's not much to discuss, then we don't have to have a meeting that month, but it's just kind of depends on what topics you're interested in talking about next meeting.
So outhouses, wasn't it?
Next meeting.
I'd like to, just as future topics, one, and I don't know if that was just discussed or we've gone over it, but I really would like to have somebody here that can explain the sewer thing.
Yeah, that would be good, even if that's just the sewer project, if we have
impact
anybody to
housing
come give us
greatly.
some information on that, that would be
That in
good.
Barnstable or Marston's Mills?
It's town of Barnstable,
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
sewer.
Oh, okay.
They're sewering the entire town.
Oh, that's right, I did hear something.
That's more than $20,000.
I'll talk to my boss, Jim, and we can work out to see if there's somebody from DPW who'll come and talk to you guys about
And what happens
sewer.
if we place 100 or 200 affordables, families, and then the sewer goes by their street? Who pays for that?
That's part of the permitting.
That's what?
It would all be part of the permitting. You wouldn't get a permit to build that many units if you didn't have the capacity, so.
Right.
Yeah, that would be on them, not the tenants, yeah. Yeah, I mean, your own house probably, but not like an apartment building or anything.
November 12.
Could you imagine that?
So if you were building your own house
Or you already had one.
today,
Yeah.
right, you'd be putting in a septic
Who-
of some kind, whether advanced or not.
It's going
And
to
then
be
be
by a
faced
parcel of
with
real
the
estate.
sewer coming along in a year and a
Yeah, that
half.
doesn't make any sense.
Have
It
to
Tenants
really
want-
doesn't make any sense.
Tenants
Or,
won't pay, but the owner, the landlord will pay.
yeah,
The rents are gonna go up. I mean, it's gonna be an impact. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe there's no impact. Great, I'll sleep better if it comes down.
well, I mean, I don't think you're gonna get who knows if it's even 20, it could be different for different houses, different sizes, something like that. But I mean, it's not gonna be one of those things that like, right now, give us 20 grand, because nobody can do that. you know, they might just take it out in your taxes a little bit here and there, or, you know what I mean? Cause I think they understand that that's a lot of money.
Check and then the chase is on.
Yeah.
Alright, so,
Can I just ask Corey, the information that Paula Schnapp forwarded? So, is there a need to, I didn't have time to look at it, but is there any need to discuss or summarize it?
We can do that next meeting if you want to make that the focus of the next meeting.
I was.
I think Paul was asking really just to get a status update on them, because a lot of the committee presented their findings. Most of it was then referred over to planning to, you know, do the deep dive on it. What, 4 of them now have gone back up to the planning board for consideration?
It was recommended planning, it hasn't made its way over to the planning board, any of these recommendations. Except that, you know, we are working on the use of town assets for affordable housing with that parcel list that we produced. And, you know, everything else really, really depends on, like a transfer fee. That, you know, it's a recommendation from a subcommittee, but more than likely will have to come from leadership for planning to really pursue doing the research to get, you know, a draft established and something ready for the town council to consume, so.
Yeah, I'm picking up the list that came from the zoning.
I'm not the director of planning, so I can't really comment on that, you know, that leadership level talk, so I think I'll have to talk to Jim about these recommendations and see where they sit with, you know, within our department and then also with town council and what recommendations they do want to pursue.
So if we have an update or perhaps
Sure.
also discuss, that
Yeah.
would be great. Thank you.
so at this time, if we have nothing further ado, we had our next date, which is November 12th because of the holidays coming up, so we'll be not the last Thursday, but we'll be doing Tuesday. Is it Tuesday, November 12th, whatever that day that is, at 4 p.m. That will be our next meeting because of the holiday. So we just want to make that clear. And we have approved our minutes. Items not reasonably anticipated 48 hours in advance of the meeting. And we'll ask that this meeting be adjourned. If we have nothing, nobody else have anything else to say or discuss?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
And all in favor?
All in favor?
Um,
Aye.
All right, everybody, have a good Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
I'll see you on Thanksgiving, Joe.